When the Zarthan fleet approached Earth, a feeling of contempt bordering on conceit filled the air. For millennia, they had conquered planets across the galaxy, each with its own distinct technology and defenses, none of which could stand against their power. Earth, a tiny impoverished planet on the outskirts of an inconsequential solar system, was simply another name to add to their extensive list of victories. From the bridge of the command cruiser, Commander Rator, the fleet's leader, looked down at the blue planet. The humans had been sneering, sending out desperate peace messages and pleas for surrender, but Rator did not heed them. To him, this was a routine victory, one that required little effort. "We'll smash them inside a day," one of the sub-commanders said, chuckling. "Their rudimentary missiles and absurd defenses will be destroyed before they even realize the impact." Rator laughed softly. "Let them launch their missiles," he said. "It will be amusing to see their astonishment when their strongest weapons reflect off our shields. To us, their weapons are no more than stones against a mountain." The Zarthans had nothing to fear. Their energy shields, perfected over thousands of years of research, were impenetrable. Not even the most advanced civilizations had managed to bypass their defenses. The rudimentary ballistic weapons of Earth posed no threat. As the fleet entered position, the Zarthans observed Earth's military forces assembling. Satellite images revealed vintage jets and tanks moving into place. It was almost comical. Rator watched as Earth's missiles approached the fleet with mild curiosity but no concern. As expected, the projectiles disintegrated harmlessly against the shields. The alien crew watched the light bursts with detached amusement. "Is this all they have?" an officer asked, almost disappointed. "They are a young species," Rator replied. Barely understanding the concept of interplanetary travel, let alone combat on a cosmic scale. Earth's military strategies were antiquated relics of a time when battles were fought on open fields with steel and gunpowder. The Zarthans had long transcended such primitive tactics. Their ships were armed with advanced antimatter plasma weapons and powerful energy shields capable of withstanding the mightiest assaults. Despite his confidence, Rator had briefly studied humanity's history. Their wars, which spanned centuries and grew increasingly destructive, were a testament to their resilience. That they had survived this long was almost surprising, given their self-destructive tendencies. Deep beneath Earth's surface, humanity's leaders gathered in a war room, helplessly watching their strongest defenses crumble. Their cutting-edge technologies had proven worthless against the alien invaders. Yet amidst the fear, there was determination. "Humanity has never been one to surrender," a general said, slamming his fist on the table. "We can't just sit here and let them destroy us." "Our missiles are useless," another replied. "Our aircraft can't get close, and they're tearing through all our defenses like paper." "Then it's time," the general said grimly. "We use Zenith." The room fell silent. Zenith, a secret weapon developed in the shadows, unknown to even the most powerful nations, was humanity's last hope. It was based on untested quantum mechanics and experimental energy theories. If it worked, it might give Earth a fighting chance. If it failed, humanity would still be doomed. The Zarthan fleet moved into position, preparing their final assault. From the command cruiser, Rator sneered. "This is your last chance, foolish creatures," he growled. "You should have surrendered while you had the opportunity." But as the Zarthans readied their final blow, something stirred deep beneath Earth's surface. The Zenith project was coming to life. Engineers and scientists worked frantically, activating the colossal rail gun. The weapon drew power from hidden reactors across the globe, causing temporary blackouts in several cities. The hum of energy grew louder, reaching a crescendo. Then, without fanfare, the rail gun fired. A narrow, nearly imperceptible pulse of energy shot into space. The Zarthans, preoccupied with their attack, failed to notice. The pulse struck the lead cruiser's shields. Unlike previous attacks, it didn't dissipate. Instead, it passed through the shields as if they weren't there, slicing into the ship's hull with surgical precision. For a moment, there was silence. Then the cruiser began to collapse. Alarms blared as systems failed. Rador's smug expression turned to disbelief as his ship disintegrated. In seconds, the mighty cruiser was reduced to debris. The shock wave spread outward, damaging nearby ships. The war room erupted in cautious celebration. Against all odds, Zenith had worked. The Zarthans, stunned by the unexpected attack, scrambled to regroup. Their once invincible fleet was now vulnerable. However, their numbers remained overwhelming, and they quickly adapted. "Reform the fleet," barked Rador's second-in-command. "Avoid the weapon's range and prepare for a coordinated counterattack." On Earth, the rail gun recharged slowly. Humanity's forces prepared for a desperate last stand, knowing they had only one shot left. The skies darkened as the Zarthan fleet loomed overhead, ready to unleash their fury. The final battle for Earth had begun. The train was still recharging on Earth, energy being drawn by its capacitors at an incredibly slow pace. Humanity had purchased a brief reprieve for itself, but there wasn't enough time. The Zarthan ships were reassembling and getting ready to initiate a fierce counteroffensive. The traditional forces of Earth, still terribly outmatched, hurried to prepare a defense, but they all knew the truth. The real hope lay in waiting for the right moment, in preparing the rail cannon for firing once more. Human jets and drones took to the skies, their pilots fully aware they were outmaneuvered and outgunned. Still, they launched, and they fought. Everything they had, kamikaze drones, missiles, and lasers, was unleashed in a desperate effort to slow the alien advance. Anti-aircraft systems on the ground released volley after volley, hoping to exploit any weakness, no matter how small, in the Zarthans' defenses. But the results were the same as before. The alien shields flared brightly, absorbing every attack while their ships advanced with relentless precision. In the war room, tension was palpable. The recharge timer for the rail gun ticked down, but it seemed agonizingly slow. Every second felt like an eternity. The Zarthans, however, had no intention of waiting. On one of the displays, the officers watched as the alien ships began boosting the energy of their primary weapons. Energy signatures spiked, heralding a wave of destruction on a scale Earth had never imagined. "They're preparing to strike," one officer said grimly, voicing what everyone was thinking. The general remained composed, his gaze stern. "We must wait. We cannot let them destroy the rail gun. Do whatever it takes to hold them off until it's ready." Orders were sent across every last line of defense. The goal was clear: survive until the railgun fired again. The Zarthan's massive plasma beams tore through the atmosphere, targeting military installations, communication hubs, and remaining air defenses. Explosions rocked the surface, sending shock waves through cities below. Fires raged, and buildings collapsed across vast stretches of land. Despite the devastation, humanity did not yield. Ground forces continued firing at the skies, even as their positions were systematically obliterated. Pilots engaged in deadly dogfights, weaving through the atmosphere in a desperate struggle to survive. The Zarthans pressed on, their attacks precise and devastating, yet humanity's stubborn resistance slowed them, even if only slightly. On the monitors, one of the largest Zarthan battleships moved into position directly above the rail gun. Its weapons, already primed, emitted energy readings off the charts. "They're targeting the rail gun," one scientist said, his voice filled with dread. The general's face hardened. "We must hold," he said, resolute. "Do not let them destroy it before it fires." As the Zarthan ship prepared to unleash its full might, Earth's remaining forces launched a desperate coordinated assault. Kamikaze drones, missiles, and every remaining weapon were hurled at the alien vessel. In the skies, explosions lit up the heavens as Earth's final wave of resistance slammed into the alien ship. Its shields flickered and strained, absorbing most of the impact. The damage to the ship's structure was superficial, but the barrage bought precious time. Then, against all odds, one of Earth's kamikaze drones, packed with explosives, found a brief weak point in the Zarthan shields. The drone struck the hull of the vessel, detonating in a bright flash. The explosion wasn't enough to destroy the ship, but it caused a critical disruption. The alien cannon, aimed directly at the rail gun, misfired. Its devastating shot missed the target by kilometers. In the war room, a collective cheer erupted as the rail gun survived. The Project Zenith timer reached 0. Engineers held their breath as the weapon's final surge of energy charged its capacitors. Then, with a deafening roar, the railgun fired. A bolt of energy streaked across the sky, straight toward the largest ship in the Zarthan fleet. This time, there was no stopping it. The pulse pierced the alien shields as if they weren't there, striking the ship's core. In an instant, the colossal vessel was torn apart, its massive frame disintegrating in a dazzling explosion. For the first time, the Zarthan fleet hesitated. And then they retreated. The alien ships began pulling back, fleeing Earth's atmosphere. Their conquest was abandoned. In the war room, cheers turned to silence as everyone processed what had happened. Earth had survived. The rail gun had worked, and the Zarthans were retreating. But the victory came at a terrible cost. Entire cities lay in ruins, smoke rising from the devastation. The death toll was unimaginable. Still, one truth remained undeniable: humanity had prevailed. For the first time, Earth had proven its might to the galaxy. It had survived an enemy far more advanced and powerful. And though the Zarthans had withdrawn, it was clear they would return. "They'll be back," the general said, his voice steady but grim. "And next time, they won't make the same mistake." Earth's leaders began planning for the future. The rail gun had shown its potential, but it wasn't enough. Humanity needed new defenses, new strategies, and new weapons to prepare for the battles yet to come. The Zarthans, though defeated, would not remain idle. They would report back to their empire, analyzing every aspect of the conflict.